Hey everybody, Matt here with the Mudroom. It is a great honor of mine to be able to introduce this individual to you. I can call him a great friend, an incredible hunting partner, and just an all-around stand-up guy. He was born and raised in Missouri. He's been hunting and fishing and enjoying the outdoors since he was knee-high to his father. He first tackled largemouth bass and crappie, and as he got older, he took on the challenges of white-tailed deer hunting. He loves the outdoors so much that he's established his whole life and career around it. He's an extremely dedicated and professional bow tech. He loves to be outside. He loves to share his passion and his knowledge with others and help others succeed in their hunting passions and their hunting endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you a great friend and an incredible outdoorsman, Hunter Covington. What's up, man?
I'm here. I'm upright and above room temperature.
I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Oh, there's no worries at
I
all.
know
Man.
it took us a little while setting this up, but
But you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited to be here because I know how excited you are for this,
yeah.
and like, you're one of my best friends. So,
Well, you know me, ideal, man. It's I just thought about finally starting to do this, and I think it's I don't know, we'll see where it goes.
I mean,
But
we might get 3 downloads and 1 subscriber in a month, or we might be the next.
hey, Rome started somewhere,
Yeah, that's right.
so. But hey, you're in the guest seat. Let's talk about you. Your
Okay.
name is Hunter Covington, and you take the floor for a little bit, man. Let's hear about where you're, where you were born, where you're raised, childhood and whatnot. It's just you.
All
The
right.
mic is yours.
The whole thing,
The whole thing.
all for me. Wow,
All for you.
That is so generous. So about me, so I was born here in North Kansas City. Spent the first couple years of my life there.
How long have you been there?
2 years.
Okay. So
So-
you don't really remember much of living in North Kansas City?
Not at all.
Okay.
Like, I could tell you exactly where the house is because we used to drive by it when I was slightly bigger.
Mm.
But no,
I did
don't.
not know that about you. But okay. Anyways.
Yeah, you're good. So from there we moved up to Kearney, Missouri. Spent pretty much my entire life there. Yeah, I don't know. I said pretty much my whole life
So-
until I moved out on my own.
Not to overtake here, but when we first met and you told me that you lived in Holt, which is essentially Kearney.
Yeah.
Like north end of Kearney, right?
Yeah, it's like Kearney
I thought,
North.
and you probably know this, but I thought you meant like Holt County,
Oh,
which is
way up
northwest
there.
Missouri. I was like, because we met at Rogers, which
Mm-hmm.
we'll get into that later. But I was like, this dude drives all that way. But
Dude,
anyways,
that would have been the
I quickly
worst.
learned that that's not where you were.
Oh, that would have been
living.
the worst commute. Two and a half
Yeah.
hours every day.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, did not mean to hijack you there.
Oh, dude. This is your show too. don't make it all about me just yet.
All right. So,
Now we'll let the listeners in a couple months decide if they want me back and taking over. But
well,
Okay.
like I said, it's my show too. So
oh, okay.
the listeners can give. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, all right. So continue.
All right, so we're gonna rename this show "How to Lose All Your Listeners in 10 Seconds."
Yeah, how to not gain any at all. Just be at ground zero
all the
consistently.
time.
Yeah.
So growing up in between Holt and Kearney, it was really, I mean, it was a cool deal. Like, it wasn't, the middle of BFE, nowhere, small town.
Mm-hmm.
But it had the small town kind of feel a lot more than it does nowadays. Kearney's expanding
Everything
wildly.
in this area is blowing up.
Like, I'm just waiting for them to announce the official merge of Liberty and Kearney into one
Yeah.
mega city.
Yeah, we're getting a few like property borders away from that happening. I feel like
Oh, for sure.
so. Yeah, which would be unfortunate.
Yeah,
Just Kearney is a hip town. Anyways, I'm just kidding.
there's oh, okay. Sorry.
So you were basically raised in Kearney,
Mm-hmm.
or the north end of Kearney. Okay. Did your parents live there? How long? No. No. You already went. You already said all that. You're born in North Kansas City. Lived in North Kansas City 2 years.
Mhm.
Then you grew up in Holt. Did you enjoy living in Holt or Kearney?
I did. It was like I said, I mean, it was a good small town. Like, we knew all the few people around that lived out in the country around us. Like, Gene and Brenda, next door neighbors that I can't name now because I've forgotten since they moved.
Yeah.
But like we were friends with the neighbor kids down the street. They
Yeah.
had a pond, so they'd have us over to go fish every now and then. The next neighbor down to the south of us had a huge pond, which when I was 7 or 8 years old, I walked down there like knocking on doors, like, "Hey, can I go fish?" And the guy that lived in this house prior to the new guy that now won't let me go back there and fish for reasons we can talk about later. He told me I had to, and keep in mind, I'm 8 years old. He told me I had to come back with a signed waiver from my parents stating that if I got hurt while fishing on his property, they would not sue him.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I didn't get to fish the most bomb-ass pond in the neighborhood for years.
Started you at a very young age of understanding the type of rejection we would get later on in our lives.
Oh,
in
100%.
our hunting careers.
100%. And it's
hunting
for
endeavors.
And you know, it's not even just for like the injury aspect of it too. You know, you got to think about how many times we've been turned down by someone because the last group that they let hunt in there just trashed the place.
Don't me. Don't even get me started on that. You'll get me all sorts of fired up.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like the few times I've seen you or Chris or Lincoln or whoever not pick up a shotgun shell, and I'd jump your ass about it.
I know. Yeah. Well,
But I mean,
we
I'll
all
say
try to
this.
do a really good job, and I'm pretty open about that.
Oh yeah,
Is that like, especially if we're on conservation land, like, hey, you're gonna pick your shit up.
Right.
Just, I don't.
you know,
It bugs me to no end. That and the other big thing is like people shooting or like killing to kill, which
right.
I understand more now. We're really getting off track. It's all right, but I understand.
okay.
I understand more now that of like the trophy hunting aspect for deer. When I first started bow hunting, I didn't really, but I understand it more now because I mean,
Well,
probably because I got my first like legit bow kill last year.
Oh, and it was not a small deer by any means.
It was just a moment that I want to like constantly chase now.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like duck hunting though. But
Oh yeah.
we also consume everything that we kill, which
Right.
is a big thing for me. Like I will quit hunting with somebody if we go shoot a limit of birds and they just go ditch them. You know,
Right.
I'm not up for that. But
You know,
anyways,
and that's a different deal even than if we're out with somebody and they're like, "Man, I've never had duck. I don't know what I'm doing with it. Do you guys want them?" Or
Yeah.
if they tell us that they're going to donate them
Yeah.
to somebody that is going to end up eating them.
yeah,
But yeah, if they dump them in a ditch or, you know, I swear if I ever find out who left that coot at Nottoway Valley, like it would not be a good day for them.
yeah. No, I'm right there with you, man. But okay, let's get back to your Carney living. So
All right.
you're a Carney bulldog, right?
Yep.
Um,
Purple and gold till I'm dead and cold.
Nice.
Not to be confused with LSU because they spell the word go with 5 extra letters.
That old Southern draw.
Mm.
If I remember correctly, you play football.
Yep.
You still like football?
I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like a super fan where I know like Travis Kelce's birthday and blood type by any means.
Well, I'm not that way either.
But, you know, there's guys out there that if you say you watch football and you can't name like every starting quarterback for every team in the NFL and their backup, like who the hell are you? You know?
Dude, I have friends, well, that you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're not to that point, but just having conversations with them, I'm like, I don't know who half the people are you're saying right now.
Right.
Right. Maybe I'm not a dedicated enough fan. I don't know. I find it impressive. I think it'd be cool to get to that point. I got involved in a couple of fantasy leagues this year and like going through the drafts, realized like I don't know who half these people are. But
Right.
it's still fun. It'd be cool. Maybe I don't have the mental capacity to keep all those names.
I was gonna say you don't have the storage space because you're too busy remembering like where all the good duck holes and fishing spots are.
No, maybe.
I mean, I'll say it right now. When I want to kill ducks, I ask you where to go.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Does it always work out in my favor going by myself? No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Well,
How many times have
it's
you got
actually
that?
been a really couple dead years, unfortunately. But
Started chasing pheasants around more than ducks just because I know I've got a place to stay out in Kansas. I
Yeah.
know that it's a 365-day tag, so I can wait a couple weeks till their season opens,
yeah,
buy my tag then, and then have it ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, it'll still be that same tag the next year for opening weekend.
yeah.
You know, does it kind of works.
That's nice though.
Yeah, it is nice. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not like
comforting.
it's not like I'm paying $100 for the out of state tag just for it to end in February.
Yeah. Well,
Like if I was doing that, like let's do some quick math. November to February, that's what, 5 months?
sure.
I mean, that's $20
Close.
a month for a service that I'm probably not going to use, but
Yeah.
5 times that year.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I have so many friends that have switched over to buying Kansas tags. I mean, it's literally right over the river, and there's great hunting property right over the river.
Right.
And it's, the limits are bigger, at least on geese.
Oh yeah.
The land is just a different layout, too, which is, I don't know, I find it very intriguing. I haven't hunted enough of it to get a good feel for it, but just have been there enough times to make me know that, like, I want to get more involved in Kansas hunting, which this year I will definitely be buying tags for
Well,
Kansas. So
I'll tell you this about Kansas, just from having made the trip to Sharon Springs, Kansas, which is, I don't know, about an hour south of I-70, almost as far west as you can go.
yeah,
After making that trip numerous times over the last several years, the first 3 hours of Kansas driving from Missouri looks just like Missouri.
well, that's fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got to get to like middle Kansas before you really notice the change.
Mm-hmm.
But you're 100% correct. Out there, once you get there, it's definitely noticeably different than here.
Yeah,
You know, you get into
It's a
like
big
the
layout.
Flint Hills. You don't see the big bodies of water like we've got like Smithville Lake up here.
mm-hmm.
You know, there's really not that. You know, you get a lot of creeks, a lot of ditches along the highways, and you might see 5 or 6 little ponds out in somebody's field,
Yeah,
but that might be all the water the birds have.
yeah,
So I mean, I think it'd be a lot of fun to get out and like knock on doors like they used to in the olden days. But then again, somebody's gonna look at us and be like, "Well, last Missouri guys that we let out here, they didn't take care of the place."
effed it all up for everybody else.
Yeah,
We might be
screwed
having to
the food
switch cards here in just a second.
Well,
Already, man, we've already been talking that long. No, I agree with you though. The whole door knocking thing is kind of like, it's so silly. It's kind of like a little adrenaline rush because you don't know what you're gonna get met with at the other end of the door or other side of the door. But
on.
it's still kind of a necessity in our hobby, which kind of stinks. But until we win the lottery one day, we'll
Man.
have to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's the sad truth of it. You know, here's where we screwed up, Matt. In 2008, I was still in middle school, and I should have been buying property all over this country for a lot cheaper than it is now. Like,
I agree with you. Yep.
why wasn't I doing that?
Yep. Should have spent less money on fuel and girls and then more money on land.
Exactly. What have we been doing?
Let's pause this real quick. I'll switch out the cards and
All
then
right.
we'll get back into it. All right, and we're back, man.
Thank you for checking out today's sponsors.
Yeah, the 0 products you need to buy because we have 0 sponsors.
Yeah.
It'll probably be that way forever because, like, I don't know if people are going to enjoy this. I think, like, our friends will tell me that it's cool, but they're probably just going to be lying to me.
And if I tell my parents to listen to it because you and me are on it, you know what they're going to say? What's a podcast?
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot of older generation nowadays. I think okay. I think because we're friends, we're going to be going on a lot of different tangents. There's going to be a lot of forks in the road.
Yeah, I don't foresee
in this
being,
podcast.
Yeah, I don't foresee this being like a normal,
like, structured ordeal, but I do want to like know more about your upbringing.
Okay.
So I know we got off on a tangent about hunting and whatnot. We'll get back to that later.
No.
But yeah. So yeah, let's talk about we've established that you played football, went to high school, graduated from Kearney. I don't know, like, what was a significant moment in your childhood that you think like helped build you to become the man that you are today? That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
All right, new drinking game. Whenever Matt asks a good question, take a drink. 'Cause
Yeah.
you need a
Okay.
minute to
I'm gonna
process.
call into work tonight then.
Okay. I would say probably one of like the most significant moments of my childhood that helped build me into like who I am today, the reason that I love what I love. Like I have just a super vivid memory from, I don't know, I couldn't have been 6 or 7 years old. Dad had taken us out turkey hunting one time,
Yeah.
and he didn't get anything. Me and Trenton, we were kids. We were 6 and 4. We're not sitting still in the turkey woods. Absolutely not. So we got up and we wanted to go throw rocks in the pond. We hadn't seen anything all fall season, so yeah, it was afternoon. I hadn't seen anything all afternoon. Me and Trenton were bored. Want to go throw rocks in the pond. So we get up, we get out of the fence line, start walking over the pond, and as soon as we got out of the fence line, we saw coming right to where we had been sitting 3 giant gobblers. They saw us come out of the tree line and just beelined it the other way.
I don't know how long I've known you. I've never heard that story.
Never ever?
No.
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
a good first time you hear it.
Yeah. So your dad didn't shoot one?
No.
They saw you and took off?
No, I thought he was about to throw me and Trenton in the pond for that one.
Yeah, he about had no kids.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He would have come home to my mom like, yeah, I don't know what happened.
They ran away.
I looked up and the turkeys had taken them off.
They're gone.
I tried.
Yep, they're gone forever. Aaron Hernandez.
R.I.P. Gone too soon.
Oh, man.
You're Donna Ventura. You thought I was talking about Hernandez, didn't you? It's fine.
That's a good story, though, man. I think we all have those relatable, oh, shit moments.
Yeah, that was...
And it's funny that you had one at that young of an age, because once again, you fast-tracked your outdoors life and hobbies very quickly at a young age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was out there, man.
I mean, that kind of disappointment at that young of an age, you learned it quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, someone that got into the whole... I mean, I feel like I got into hunting pretty late in life. Okay. My dad always took me catfishing because he had a really awesome cabin on the Iowa River. Or always catching catfish.
Okay.
So that's where, like, that love started. And then went a few times with family members, what are they, ditch chicken.
Oh.
That they're called, ditch, rooster, whatever.
Prairie parrots, rooster pheasants.
Hunting in Iowa because you could road hunt up there.
Just road hunting for ditch chickens.
My job was to may or may not have been like the beer and gun guy.
Okay.
My little 7-8-year-old self.
Grab us a beer.
Hand me another Miller Lite and the shotgun out the trunk. I think I see one. Stuff like that. But still, I got to go out there and enjoy that. And then, yeah, man, it wasn't until I was at least a teenager and got into bow hunting and really heavily into fishing,
Oh, yeah, because you were still ate up with fishing when I met you.
That was all about it, man.
Like, our first times hanging out, I'm pretty sure we were catfishing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, growing up in the neighborhood that I did, we were fortunate enough to have 2 giant ponds that were full of, I mean, I caught the biggest largemouth I've ever caught it. I mean, yeah, they're essentially farm ponds in the middle of the neighborhood, but still, I mean, I caught that guy on a bluegill. I just caught a little tiny bluegill and put a little hook under its dorsal or whatever and sent it out. And caught a 8.5-pound largemouth. Yeah. I'll have to edit that out for the viewers, for the children watching this.
Kids, I was telling him that he's number one.
Number one, but yeah. So that's an interesting story, though. Like I was saying, you've experienced a disappointment that comes along with these kind of hobbies at a young age. So you're hopefully used to it by now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The seasons I've had the last few years, there's been a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I tagged a deer with my rifle last year, but I wasn't. I didn't get out with my bow as much as I wanted to. I had to take a little break from going out to Kansas.
Yeah.
Gas was getting too expensive.
I think that's I think it's safe to say, though, every year for every hunter or any person that is passionate enough about the outdoors, it's never enough.
Oh, never.
I think I went duck hunting, and that's my big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went duck hunting maybe 4 or 5 times last year, if that. And I think I like was physically ill, like emotionally ill as well because of that. Because it's our outlet. It's something that we do. It's something that we enjoy. It's something we have passion for. We put a ton of sometimes blood, but definitely sweat time. I don't know if I've ever cried over hunting, but you can say tears as well.
I'll tell you right now, I have.
Have you?
100% I've
When?
cried over hunting. The first deer I ever drew back on, the big fat doe, she was going to go right in the freezer. I had it in my head like, this is it. This is my first bow kill.
Yeah.
I got drawn back, the old Parker Phoenix 34.
Yeah, buddy.
Let one fly, and I heard whack
In the shoulder.
right in the shoulder blade. We tracked that deer for 2 miles, and I was sick to my stomach when we couldn't find her.
Yeah.
Like I cried myself to sleep that night.
That is why I quit bow hunting for that 3 or 4 years. Two significant moments. I was hunting out back of a buddy's house. His dad's got like 25, 30 acres behind the house or so. Always had nice bucks. Definitely awesome bucks for your first bow kill. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you're measuring that.
Right.
But I watched this buck just absolutely destroy like a little sapling, chase this doe back and forth. I mean, the stand was 10 yards from the path that they'd walk up and down. I mean,
Nice.
like the easiest shot you could possibly take. And I put it right into the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Watched him run off.
And it's a distinct sound when you hit that shoulder blade, dude.
Yep. So fast forward a few years in college, still bow hunting, still unsuccessful with it. I'm hunting Bilby Lake Ranch up there. You know, I was a big fan of that place while I was up in college. And
Oh yeah, because it was what, not even 20 minutes down the road from you, was
not
it?
even. And with the way we drove back then, we were there like that. So
What are you talking about back then? I've driven behind you. You still drive that way.
stop that, dude. Don't incriminate me like that, okay? But anywho, I had a really good set and was really excited about it. Had found some good sheds and had an incredible buck walk out, and I drew back on it, and I just watched. So for me, I think it was a mixture of like just being in the moment, but like nervous to take the shot because of previous experiences.
Mhm.
I don't even think that buck that I shouldered was the first one. I think there's one more before that. If the first buck I ever technically shot with a bow was one that was hanging over my buddy Matt's, or our buddy Matt's, his dad's 8-foot wrought iron fence. To try to jump it, hung it up in the back thigh or whatever, and it was just hanging there.
Right.
And so we needed to shoot it, and I had a bow tag, and just being young and dumb, I mean, like teenagers not really knowing, I was just like, okay, I'll fill my tag. I don't care.
Right.
Even at 10 yards away. Less than that, probably like 5.
Shouldered him.
Put it through the shoulder.
Yep.
Like how? I don't know how. I don't know how I did it.
Don't ask me. I just
Right.
work on bows. I can't shoot them either.
Well, it was so. I always found the shoulder, and then I'll get off this topic here in a second. But then I had my first successful bow hunt or bow kill buck this year. It was actually a really good like harvest year for me. Like I shot a decent amount of doe and filled the freezer, and then got to shoot that guy.
Awesome.
It was great.
Saving money
I
on
went
beef.
complete opposite spectrums. I went from shoulder to ass, and the hunting gods graced me, and it did something. I don't know if it like ricocheted and went up. I think that's what it had to have done, because he died. I mean, I waited 18 hours, found him dead on a hill, and it was a really fun track. A lot of the meat was spoiled. I salvaged as much as I could, but it was like. I just had that mental talk with myself. I was like, you can't figure this out. You're either shoulder or now all of a sudden you're like in the ass. Like you got to figure this out.
I mean, hey, a statistician would tell you that you should have, like, the next one you take should be right dead center where you want it.
Hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. I still haven't shot the new bow yet. Or I guess new strings. Other than when I picked it up from you at the shop.
Dude, I put all that hard work and I let that sucker hang and get stored for how long?
Dude,
and you
don't
have
even start
not
with
shot
me.
it?
Don't even start with me.
You know what? No, I'm a little hurt, honestly. Like, that's
Yeah.
my hard work going to waste right there.
Dude, I'm really sorry. I got to take a piss. So let's take another break real quick.
All right.
And then we'll hop back into this, all right?
After a quick sponsor break.
After a quick sponsor break. Stay tuned. Yikes. All right, thank you for tuning back in after that great sponsor break.
Hope you heard some deals that interest you. And now we are back.
Some new products that you need.
Or don't.
All right, we keep getting on these tangents about obviously our passions, which is good. That's what this podcast is about, and that's what I want to talk about. But
And
I also really want to dive into the character that is Hunter Covington.
You sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
I've had 3 therapists quit. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they've all told me to get the F out of their office. We talked a little bit about your upbringing. Like, what was your relationship like with your parents? I mean,
Oh man, my parents were awesome, dude. Like
Yeah.
I never wanted for anything unless it was like something just crazy request that like I didn't actually need, but I thought I did at the time, like
Yeah.
like kids do. No, my parents were super supportive. Anytime I wanted to go fishing, if dad wasn't around to take me,
yeah,
mom would take me out to one of grandpa's friends' lakes.
yeah,
Every sporting event, with the exception of one that I still give them grief over to this day that we can talk about later, they were there.
yeah. What's that one?
So I was a sophomore in high school, and we were playing against Excelsior Springs.
Do you hear that dog in the background? I'm sorry. I'm so terrible at interrupting people.
It's your dog.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that my dog, like she'd be doing the same thing though.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. I'm sorry. We're talking about this very important moment in your life, and I just once again highway jacked you or whatever it's called. So
Good old hijacking.
hijacking.
Anyhow, so I mean, at this point, Kearney was a powerhouse every year. That was the year.
For sure.
I mean, we were crushing Excelsior every year at least, and that's all I gave a shit about most of the time.
Yeah. Fair.
That's the biggest rivalry of that school was our next town neighbors. So
Yeah.
we had to beat you. So we're crushing them like we do, and like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, like we're up by some astronomical amount, and I'm like a fourth string left tackle, and I weigh 160 pounds, 170 soaking wet.
Yeah.
And I get called to go in. The one game my parents didn't go to
Your moment
was like that moment. Like I was like, that was my first thought going in. Was like, shit. And this is the game mom and dad skipped because it's raining.
Oh my god! Oh, the raining game.
Oh, it was pouring, dude.
The stage is set.
I mean, I think I did okay. I got a couple compliments from the coach. Like I didn't miss a blocking assignment. I did fine.
Yeah.
But I would have felt really happy if my parents were there to see me play my first varsity
Yeah,
game.
mom and dad.
Yeah, I'm never going to show them this now.
Oh, yes, you will.
No,
It's like we said, nobody's going to watch this.
Right, yeah.
We'll see.
They don't know what a podcast is. Like, they're just going to think I'm showing them this super long video on a phone.
You're gonna be like, hey, mom and dad, I filmed a podcast and a video. You did what? You filmed a what? If you got to take that, we can.
God bless it.
We're going to do a quick break for a personal phone call. One.
All right.
Yikes. All right, we're back.
There was some interesting stuff said off air there.
Hey, Camo, you either got to lay down or you got to lay down.
Yeah, like that's.
Or go
that's not
outside,
your
you and
options.
your heavy breathing self. Don't
I can't help it.
instigate this.
I haven't seen your dog in like 3 years.
It hadn't been that long.
No, you're right.
They're going to lay right there, just heavy breathe.
It'll be fine. Just turn the gain down. You can, do your fancy editing software, like edit that sound wave out. It'll
See
be
if we
fine.
can cut out the background noise.
Yeah, it'll be
It's
fine.
all right. Maybe we'll add a nice little touch.
Yeah. Makes it feel more homey.
So, mom and dad dropped the ball on your first game.
No pun intended, but yes. They filmed a big
Maybe
time.
I did intend the pun.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay, it's fine.
That's
no,
funny,
I
though.
mean-
But other than that, they were.
They were.
You had a great relationship with them, huh?
Yeah, like I said, never.
I've only been around them a couple times, and yeah, they seem like great people.
Oh, for sure, man.
Still trying to get your dad to let me go mushroom hunt in your backyard. But
Dude, I told you to call him.
I don't know. Let me be honest with you. I don't even know his name.
His name's William, but he goes by his middle name of Joe.
Why not Bill?
Don't ever call my dad Bill.
Why?
Because no one even calls him William. Unless it's my mom calling him William and he's in deep
Bill
shit.
Covington. That's like that is a senator's name. Bill Covington.
Yeah, but my dad's not a senator. He's a now retired iron worker.
Oh, I get that. I'm just saying, if he ever has that ambition,
A political
he'd
aspirations.
probably get a lot of votes off the name itself.
It is a good, powerful name.
Bill Covington, for the people.
By the people, of the people.
Exactly. I was born bred. hard-working iron worker. Anyways, I'll get off that tangent. Just saying, Bill, if you ever run, you got my vote.
Don't call him Bill.
William, if you ever run, you got my vote.
Don't call him William either.
Joe.
There you go.
Joe Covington sounds like a country singer.
Yeah, like, what did you think my moniker was going to be if the whole music thing worked out for me? You know you and I share the same middle name, right?
Do you really?
Yeah, my middle name's Joseph, too.
I did not know that.
Dude, we've known each other for 12, 13 years now.
Yeah,
Gotta
quite
be.
a while. Mm.
Maybe not. Okay, maybe not that long. Maybe like 10, 11. But still. And you
I
never...
mean, I guess I could name off the middle name of quite a few of my friends, so I apologize. Now I know.
That's fine.
That'd be an easy one to remember.
I don't remember when your birthday is exactly, but I think it's in May.
I don't even really remember like my own family members' birthdays, to be honest with you. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Just our brains work differently.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
All right, you graduate high school.
But hold on.
Okay.
There's one more thing about high school I want to talk about because it also ties into the outdoors.
All right, let's do it.
Dude, I feel like I can't talk about my high school career without my other big passion from back then, which was trap shooting.
Yeah, I forgot that you're a big trap shooter.
Oh, I mean,
Well,
I
you
was
still have
big.
the passion for it.
Oh yeah, it's too damn expensive anymore.
Yeah, no, you ain't wrong.
I think the last time I went and tried to shoot, it was like $12 to go shoot 25 birds, and if you didn't have ammo, it was another $13, $14 for a box of ammo at the range. Like,
Yeah.
nah, I can't. It's just like
I feel like to be, and me, a guy who's been trap shooting at a legit trap shooting range,
Mhm.
or whatever they're called,
Yeah, trap range.
maybe 3 times. Sorry, excuse me. Goodness.
You're good.
That dinner we had before we started this is coming back up.
I know we might have screwed ourselves. In that.
I think I feel like based off that very little experience that if you wanted to consistently be good at trap shooting to like a competitive level, you could.
Did you hear that? In the
I heard it.
headphones?
Yeah. Yikes.
I
You see a
apologize, folks.
chiropractor.
That was just my
I
shoulder.
have to apologize. It's all right. We're human.
That's true.
But I feel like if you wanted to participate in trap shooting at a competitive level, like you would have to be shooting every day, if not every other day,
Oh yeah.
right? Or at least
100%.
like a handful of times a week.
Yeah.
So, but that's how a lot of the stuff we do is like, because there are professionals in what we do
That's true.
in every aspect. I mean, professional fishermen, professional
Mhm.
hunters, professional callers, professional shooters, right?
Right.
Professional guides. At some point, there's a financial, like,
Right.
sacrifice, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
until you get to the point where like you're either making really good money doing what you're doing, or like the sponsors are paying for it.
Exactly.
But
Where
yeah,
you're not actually like buying or supplying your own equipment. They're giving you the stuff, and
Yeah.
you may be out $100 instead of 1,000
yeah.
or whatever.
Here's a couple hundred rounds. Make sure you are good for this week's competition,
Right.
right? I'm sure that's some people's scenario in their
sure.
life, right? Like
Absolutely.
professional shooting wise. So were you on did Kearney have a trap shooting team, or was it just a hobby?
They did. They had a trap shooting team.
Because I'm sorry, you graduated when?
12.
12, and I
2012.
graduated 9, because we're only a few years apart from each other.
Mhm.
Right around the time, like my sophomore, junior year, is Liberty
Yeah, they got one too.
started
Right.
getting a trap team. Like I think it started like, as a club, and then they started actually going and competing there in Smithville.
Yep. Well, everybody goes to Smithville unless you live down past Independence, and then you go to Lake Lotawana. Whichever range is closest to you. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, middle to late sophomore year, somebody had approached me and was like, "Hey, I know you like to hunt. Why don't you come join the team?" And I'm like, "What? No one ever told me we had a team to go shoot clays. Like I'd wanted to do it since I was a kid."
Yeah.
So that was big news for me. Dad drove me out there, and like I don't think I was any sort of like decent shot. I think my first 25 birds, I maybe broke 6.
Really?
But I mean, it was.
This is your
enough
first time shooting trap, though?
Yeah, I mean, it was enough to get like,
Yeah.
get me wanting to go back and do it again.
Well, yeah.
And by the end of the season, when the state shoot was, I wasn't shooting anywhere near where I needed to be to go. So junior and senior year, I ended up making it to state 2
Yeah.
years in a row.
Okay.
Now, when I got to state junior year, you want to talk about heartbreaking moments. Like
Yeah.
I'd been shooting good, I was, low to mid 90s out of 100 every time we would shoot.
Yeah.
So, I felt confident. I got
Yeah.
down there, and out of 100 targets, I broke 72.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening that's not a big time trap shooter, like competitive wise, that's not even anywhere close to being in the top 50.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you
it's
gotta,
72 out of 100, you said?
uh-huh.
So you shot 72%. That's
Yep,
math
it's quick math.
for all of you listening. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I went down there expecting to do a lot better than I did, and it was one of those, like, I didn't know what I had to work on, but I knew if I wanted to do better the next year, like I had to work on something. Went back the next year and broke 92 out of 100.
Wow.
So I came back a lot stronger. Now, did that still finish me in the top 50? No, but I was a lot closer to it than I was the year before.
Yeah.
At those shoots, like there are, looking back at it, it's kind of crazy to think about. These are 15, 16-year-old kids out here running upwards of 200 plus targets straight. Like that's some next level dead eye.
Yeah.
Like I knew I wasn't touching that, but one of the kids on my team got in a shoot off because he shot 99 that day.
I think at that age, that's at that age in high school sports, collegiate sports, even.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to collegiate stuff, you're a little bit more on your own. But especially in, like specifically in high school, every sport had those kids.
Oh yeah.
Where like it was not only their passion, it was probably their parents' passion.
Right.
There's probably a mix of like parents living vicariously through their kids, which is always something. Also a good mix of like parents seeing, hey, like my kid's really good at this. I'm gonna flourish this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, it saw in wrestling.
Right.
I mean, you had kids that have been wrestling since they were, could walk, just stuff like that. Ultra competitive all through the year, constantly practicing and whatnot.
Right. Like
They had someone like me who in the off season didn't really think about it too much, but also I wasn't a super high competitor,
mm-hmm.
right? Like I did well enough to get a college scholarship, which was cool. But,
right.
But yeah, I agree with what you said that, or I'm not shocked to hear that there's kids like that out there.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're in, like you said, everything. And,
Yeah.
I think a part of that you might not have touched on too is that might have just been like, because I know at least one of the kids on the team
Mm-hmm.
did not come from a hunting background or, farming background, any sort of anything that they would have ever been involved with the shooting sport until they maybe, overheard one of us talking about it at school
Mm-hmm.
or saw it on YouTube because YouTube was like blowing up.
Yeah.
Which that's so weird to say. Like we're old enough that we can remember the birth of YouTube.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
They saw it on TV, whatever, and they're just like, hey, I want to go do that. And they might have just, that might have just overnight became their thing.
Yeah. And then they found out they're good at it.
Right. And then from there, I mean.
Or had some sort of talent at it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily believe in talent. I think a lot of stuff takes talent or like takes some like wherewithal. But I am a big believer in like hard work.
Oh yeah.
Will chisel the stone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like they might have had the talent there, but if they didn't work at it, they would. And
that talent had to be unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
It's a good take.
So it sounds like football. You had some pretty substantial moments from football and the trap shooting team.
Mm-hmm.
What was the trap shooting team's name? Were you guys the Carney Bulldogs?
Yeah, we were Carney Bulldog Trap Shooting Club. Like it was nothing fancy,
Actually, I'm fairly certain that's what the Liberty Blue Jay was,
right.
like the Liberty Blue Jay Trap Shooting Club or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, like we didn't have any sort of official team name or something.
Yeah.
Hell, half the time we didn't even have matching shirts if we were going to like a semi-competitive shoot. Like we'd all just show up in whatever orange or camo or purple or gold we had.
Nice. Did you guys like compete pretty well on the state circuit?
So we did all right with so honestly, most of our like pre-state shoots were Like we'd call up Nottoway County FFA.
Mm-hmm.
They'd come down to Smithville and shoot against us, or our coach would get a hold of Liberty's coach and be like, "Hey, we want to have a 50-round shoot off with you guys just for fun this weekend."
Mm.
And, you know, I think we did have a lot of shoots that came down to one or two clays.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we weren't I wouldn't say we were in the top percentage of teams in the state, but I think we could have held our own on most of them.
Yeah.
If some of us who may or may not be on this podcast right now could have carried their weight at state, we might have.
I love you, buddy.
We might have placed a little better.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen your shooting firsthand.
Okay, it's different when you got a little disc going away from you at one of like 10 different angles than when you got a small gray rocket zipping by you at Mach Jesus.
Well, if we're doing it right, that small gray rocket is cupped up and like sitting in your face.
Matt, how many times have we ever done it right where that actually works?
I mean, okay, now you're making us look bad or sound bad.
No,
I would like to think more times than not.
Oh, yeah.
But that's fair. Oh, this is still going past 13 minutes.
Man.
I wonder how long it'll go.
I feel like this is a 2-star review moment right here.
What is?
That going past 12 minutes of battery.
I'm like concerned that maybe it's not recording. Maybe it is recording, or maybe it's just holding on to it internally. That could be it. I don't know.
I don't know how this stuff works. I'm just as new at this as you are.
I don't know either. We'll let it go a little bit longer, then I'll check it. We'll take another little break.
Cool. So
Dude, did he fart? Or did you fart? Something stinks.
Wasn't me. I would bet probably him.
That smells like a camo fart.
Yeah. So what else you wanna discuss?
I don't know. Is there anything more like major in your childhood that you want to talk about, or?
I mean, nothing I can.
Pretty key notes.
I mean, nothing I can really think of apart from like just growing up. Like every fall, I was up at Grandpa's farm. We were hunting.
Nice.
You know, we'd go out turkey hunting in the spring.
Where's Grandpa's farm at?
North Central Missouri. So like I could see Iowa if I stood on the water tower.
Ooh.
Like we were up there.
So did you have some pretty big bucks then?
We saw a bunch up there, but our neighbors would not stay off the trigger. So like, and this was before Putnam County got put on CWD restrictions, where there's no 4-point restriction anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, even before that, like the tiniest little basket rack ate.
Done.
Game over if you walked on the neighbors.
Yikes.
I mean, deer that even me and my brother at 13 and 11 years old were passing on.
Yeah.
Would meet their doom across the road.
Wow. That's unfortunate, man.
It is, and
but at least you had a place to go up and make those memories, you know.
Right, and I've come to see it as, man, those guys could have just been meat hunting. You know, they never seemed like they were excited about big antlers. Like,
yeah,
you know, they were definitely part of the older crowd, like a little older than my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had all grown up in hard enough times. If I had to make a guess, just being in Putnam County, knowing the layout up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's rural.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of the smaller towns are dying out. Like the town we stay in Lucerne up there, it's got a population of 62, and that's a lot smaller than the average age of the residents. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
So there's not as much job opportunity. So, you know, as I've grown as a hunter, I think I've kind of started to forgive those guys a little bit more. Like, you know, they don't give a shit about a giant trophy buck hanging on the wall. Like,
that's fair.
Like we do. Like, they're just trying to put meat in the freezer.
But also at the same time, that could be their trophy buck. You know?
That's true. You know,
I think
a trophy it's based on who's looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the dude standing next to you that tells you it's small. His opinion or her opinion, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. If that to you was a special moment, a special deer, or it holds value to you somehow, something that you'll always remember and cherish, then that's a trophy.
Oh yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
There's also the side of, I swear it was bigger than that.
No, ground shrinkage.
Ground shrinkage.
Man,
I've hunted. I've been around a good handful of individuals that were like that. But yeah. I have also found myself in those moments. A good buddy of mine actually held me back. We were hunting together.
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting this like 3 or 4 8 points on camera all year, and I was like, for my first buck, I'd shoot it. I would shoot it, and we were hunting, and they came out. I mean, they were very consistent. If you want to say they were patterned, we'll say they were patterned.
Right.
I mean, we used one camera to pattern them, but
I mean, if they show up consistently in front of the same
exactly.
camera, that's a pattern.
I think it's a pattern.
That's a pattern of behavior for sure.
You know, you got some people out there like, well, I'm not going to name any names. Never mind.
Hang on.
They use hundreds of cameras to track every step of their deer. Anyways,
Talk about that later.
wow. I mean, if I could, I could.
Off air.
If I could, I would. I mean, honestly, though, if
Yeah.
I had access to that. But
these three came walking out, right?
he saved me because I was 100% ready to like let an arrow fly. And he told me, he said, "Hey, I know that you're eager to get your first official bow buck. You will regret that." I was like, I don't know if I will, because my trigger finger is feeling itchy,
Right.
and I want to just like let the release pop and send it.
Right.
But I didn't, and he was right. I mean, yeah, he was right. He was right, because I ended up shooting mine, and it was a really good first bow kill. Hey, buddy.
Oh, absolutely.
Why don't you just go lay down?
Camo, you trying to make a guest appearance? Is that what you're doing over there?
You old rickety dog.
Yeah. Those are some of the best dogs, though. Like, man, if Camo could speak English, he'd have a mic on here for sure, because he'd have stories.
Oh, he'd probably tear me a new one.
Oh, for sure. Dad, you dragged me out here, and you guys are all missing again.
Oh, it's freezing cold. I barely retrieved birds for you, not because you guys weren't seeing them, because you guys can't shoot.
You brought Hunter along, and I knew that we weren't dropping birds that day, Dad.
Yeah. Go lay down. Go lay down. Let's I want to dive into like your college. Well, I don't know if you went to college, but like now, like your more adult life and whatnot. But
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break again. I'm gonna refill my drink, and then we'll get back into it.
Today's segment is brought to you by Budweiser.
Dude, I gotta cut that out now.
That's fine.
Come on.
Okay.
We shall see. The conversation's kind of nice. Maybe just a little like couple B-roll cuts here and there.
Yeah.
Talking, or like little cut-ins of us talking. Anyways, okay. We've covered a fair amount of your childhood.
Slight bit of young adulthood.
Yeah. Sounds like you overall had a really positive upbringing.
Yeah.
You experienced like a good amount of stuff. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah, we took, a couple of real cool vacations when I was a kid. Like,
What's your favorite one?
man, I'm not going to lie to you. And I really don't want people to think like we were better off than we actually were. But we got this trip for super cheap when I was like 10 years old. We went to Hawaii. Like,
Nice.
me, mom, dad, Trenton, grandma, grandpa,
Nice.
my uncle, my cousins. Like there was like 12 of us on this trip.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it was cool, man. Like it was way different than any other trip we'd taken up here. Like
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can imagine.
snorkeling on the reef.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I love the ocean. The ocean's my first love.
Dude, it was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I spent more time in the ocean there than I think I ever have in any time since.
Yeah.
I also got the worst sunburn I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. I think everyone has to have that, at least one horrendous sunburn.
So I have two. The second one came on much later in life, but the first one was that trip to Hawaii.
Guess I have two as well. Yeah. One of them I don't really remember. Not for reasons you might be thinking.
I was going to say,
But-
does it involve the phrase beer?
No.
Okay.
No. It's kind of a sad story. I'll be brief with it. But
Okay.
growing up, my dad, he took me to a 4th of July party. He was partaking in the festivities. And I was maybe 6 or 7. Like I said, I don't really remember a whole lot of it. I remember being in the hospital. But I was with him all day. And we were outside all day. And we were at a lake. Pretty sure at
man.
a lake in Iowa. And no sunscreen. It was to the point where my skin was blistering. And I had to go to the ER. And I had to put the whole cool aloe
Yep,
cloths
the
on
cooling
me or whatever.
wraps.
Look like a mummy and whatnot. So
I don't even
I like
know.
to think it wasn't intentional. It was probably just him being a ultra forgetful dad. I don't know.
Right. I mean,
But and then there was the one time where we went on a family cruise, and my mom, and this is just her. We couldn't do the like every island you would stop at on a cruise. They'd have like the cruise associated adventures that you could do.
yeah.
She always said, "F that. We're gonna find like the local shit." And so she found,
I love your mom for that.
yeah, dude, she's awesome. She found the highest rated like snorkeling guide, and we went with this dude. I think we did 2 cruises, and we went with him both times. Dope. Talk about crazy life story. Literally went to the Virgin Islands and was like, I think where was he from? He was from like, I know one of his guides was from France, and that he had gone on like a buddy's trip, like a buddy. It was his like deckhand or whatever for the boat. Had come down on a trip, and spent a week there, and I'm gonna get the story wrong. At some point, like everyone had to go, but I know there was a point where like they had gone back and then came back, and they were getting ready to go back home after that second trip. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not leaving.
You're staying here."
I'm staying." And he literally stayed there. I think he flew home to grab some essentials or whatever, and then came back and just figured life out. And now that guy was a captain. We went with our second trip. He was the captain that worked for the guy that owned the business who we went with the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone that worked there had awesome stories. The owner of the company, very similar story. I can't remember where he was from, but he basically went on vacation there, and then was like, "Yeah, fuck, I'm not going home.
Right.
I'm staying."
Oh yeah.
And started a business.
Hey.
And
power to him, dude.
it was really cool. They offered you Carib, which is one of my all-time favorite beers. I love Corona, and that's the closest I can describe it to for anyone that listening that's ever drank a Corona. Similar to that, but like, I don't know. I can't describe it. And I haven't had it in years. And so it may not be actually as good as I remember it being, but I feel like I would still love it. Maybe, yeah, there might be some nostalgia there, but
okay.
I think I'd probably still enjoy it just as much as I did then. Like, anytime I talk about it or think about it, like, my mouth waters. Like, it sounds refreshing.
Dude, if I ever find it and it's not that good, like, the next
If you
day,
ever find it, the first thing you're doing is telling me where you found it.
Oh, for sure. But if it's
Yes.
not that good, like, I don't care how far away from you I am. Like, I could be literally completely across the earth. The next day, if it's not mouth-watering good, I'm coming back here and I'm kicking your ass. Because
Well,
now you've built it up in my head. Like, it has to be that
I'm
good.
going to call you out on it.
Okay,
If that's the case, do it.
Let's go.
Bring it on.
I know I'm going to lose, but
But so they offered, it felt like it was unlimited amounts of Carib, and then their homemade rum punch,
ooh,
just out of a
buddy.
Gatorade jug.
Just like we would make it back here for a tailgate,
was
right?
Lit.
I can only
And got to the point where I was like, I don't need sunscreen. I'm fine. And just we were on the boat for hours, and I just kept diving in. Every stop would make, I just dive in, not wearing a shirt. And
Right.
so my back was, I don't know if you've ever had sun poisoning from a sunburn. It was horrendous. It just felt like a million hot needles just like sticking you in the back. And it just like, I was shivering. I was hot or I was cold. I was like, had a fever. It was just unreal. It was unreal. Maybe I didn't have a fever. I don't know. But it just sucked. I just remember it sucking. And
Right.
wasting a whole like day and a half, 2 days of the trip because I was just in the cabin, like AC blasting, trying to like
just dying.
do anything. Yeah, it was terrible. So I definitely try to make sure to wear sunscreen. Like, I'll probably get skin cancer at some point.
Yeah, we all got to die of something, dude. Like, don't
If
get me
I
wrong, I'm
die
not.
from something like that, I'm not downplaying anybody that's dealing with
No,
this kind of stuff.
absolutely not.
Yeah, but like with the stuff I do,
Yeah.
dude, that's where my mind's at lately. Like with the stuff that I do for work, like, and we don't have to dive into that. Maybe one of these episodes we'll talk about it. It's nothing for anyone listening. It's not anything crazy. It's not like I'm some
He's not a crab fisherman up in Alaska.
or like badass mercenary or anything like that. But like, that's why I don't go to theme parks anymore. Like, I'll go.
Mhm.
I'm not getting on a roller coaster. If I
Right.
die from some like engineering malfunction on a roller coaster, how pissed I would be.
Oh, dude.
You know how
You would
mad
spend the
I
rest
would-
of eternity angry.
Yes. I would be the worst person to have heaven or hell wherever I'm going.
Hey,
Yeah,
heaven
man.
for the climate, hell for the company, brother.
I guess, dude. But no. Anyways, that was a weird tangent. I don't.
That
We were talking
was.
about sunburns. Oh,
We
we're talking
we
about
were.
if I go out, my
Yeah.
skin cancer. Yeah.
uh,
Those family vacations are necessary though, and you made a comment that I thought was interesting about how like you know you don't want people to think that you had it differently or sound like you were.
right. Like we weren't taking these
But there's also
vacations every year.
yeah, but there's also something like really to be said. You know, a man can take pride, or parents can take a lot of pride in like working hard and saving up and being able to like take their family on stuff like that. So,
And that's what it was, man. Like they went when I was a year old. Mom and Dad went to Hawaii on their own, and like when I was 10 years old, they were just like, "Hey, we can take almost the exact same trip that me and your dad took for just as cheap per person, and we've been saving money for something like this, so we're doing
going.
it." Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Um,
That's fantastic.
but yeah, you want to talk about sunburns? While we were there, so I had never been snorkeling before,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, I can't do the dive down snorkel, like keep the water out of your mouth snorkeling. I can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So I was just up on the top of the water. Little 10-year-old me just cruising along the tops, like little coral reefs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. So I was a sunscreen fiend.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the one part of my body I never thought to put sunscreen on was the back of my calves.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Dude.
Like as red as the lights on the recording device over here, dude.
Dude. Oh my lord.
Like I spent the next several days just wearing
Couldn't
nothing.
wear socks.
Couldn't wear socks. Like everything
Couldn't wear
hurt.
pants.
And you know what? We still had like 4 or 5 days of vacation left.
So you were wearing short shorts before they were cool.
Oh.
Trying to keep those short legs off, or short
100%, dude.
whatever they're called, sleeves, pant legs, whatever, off the back of your calves.
100%. And you know what? I was sleeping on my stomach.
Because I'm sure back then those and one basketball shorts were still a thing, and just super long baggy basketball shorts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I still wear.
That sucks.
Oh yeah, that was so. Oh, it was so fun. I mean, it was a great trip.
How
but,
inconvenient of a spot too.
oh, and I'm telling you right now, man, we had a snorkeling outing, like a day specifically set aside for snorkeling. Like 3 days later, you'd better believe I was aloe vera and sunscreened up from head to freaking toe that day.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
didn't want to make it worse.
I could imagine so,
it,
man.
it was like a 6-7 hour like not like an
A
outing,
whole
like,
day event.
yeah, like we were there all day. And it
Between getting up, getting ready, getting there, and then getting home, that's an all day event, man.
it was, man, it was nuts.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and then bad sunburn number 2, and this is gonna bring up some more of the stuff that I do outdoors. If you've been in a kayak, like a sit-in style kayak, you know, you got the little foot pegs inside for your feet to rest on.
Mhm.
But there's, you know, I'm a pretty tall dude.
Mhm.
I got a lot of leg that I got to try and cram inside of there.
Mhm.
So if I'm just sitting there fishing in my kayak, I've usually got my knees kicked up to the sides, like
Mhm.
in the opening. And once again, wasn't thinking that's a spot that normally doesn't get sunburn on me. The insides of my lower thigh, all the way down to
Oh my.
all the way
God.
down to my ankles, was like purple.
And knowing you, I mean, when was that?
Ah, hell, that had to have been.
Because you haven't been kayak fishing like for too terribly long, like what, several years maybe.
Yeah, it had to have been like 6 years ago. Like, yeah, I think it was 2019, 2018, maybe.
So you were working at Rogers then,
Yeah.
which we'll get into. I want to get into that here because that's how you and I met. But, and yeah, since the time I've known you, your typical uniform there is a pair of boots and jeans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's been Hey Dudes a lot here the last couple of years. as
I don't
they've
blame you
caught
there.
on.
Yeah,
They're
I got scammed on some Hey Dude.
No, we'll talk about that off
4th
air.
of July. Yeah.
I got to hear about this off air.
All right. After a small equipment failure there.
Yeah. No, you can't call it that. You got to make it sound professional. That was a technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. We're
It's
doing
fine.
good.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. This has been an enjoyable, enjoyable process so far.
Oh, absolutely. Like I really hope you're having as much fun as I am, and I get invited back
No, yeah.
because like we will always have shit to talk about between the two of us.
Yeah. We were talking about sunburns.
Yes.
Let's get off sunburns. I got something because we might have to do a
Part
on
2.
episode 2.
Okay.
Yeah, or part 2 of this because I have to go do my My grown-up job.
Your day job.
Some of those don't look too bad. I mean, literally I did that all in one night. Came up with all those different ones.
Those don't look bad. That one looks a lot like a zinc.
In
This
the
one,
back?
this one here in the back,
Like the
looks a lot-
ATM?
yeah,
No, yeah, kind of, yeah.
like a shortened down little zinc.
I think my favorite style is probably that one. But
Yeah, that's not bad.
I want the flare on the mouthpiece a little bit more.
I'm not gonna lie to you though, and I know that they are like your least favorite call company. That is a Ducklander looking call.
Hey, we don't know who's going to be listening to this. I'm not going to say they're like my least favorite. Because I actually do like Bobby's calls. And I like Bobby.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bobby was always a really cool dude to me.
Yeah,
I can't put this in there.
you're right.
Maybe I can. I
No,
don't really care. I want this to be as like pure to the
yeah,
bone as
but
possible.
you know, since we're talking
There's
about
nothing against Ducklander calls or the calls that Bobby makes. I think they're fantastic calls. I had
a bad
an
experience,
ill experience with.
and we can just leave it at that. Just a bad experience.
To follow that up, though,
Mhm.
I think a big part of that was probably because I did have that phase, and I think around that time frame or that era of duck hunting, which was like, correct me if the statement's wrong, but I feel like you and I probably agree that Duck Dynasty, like, made all of a sudden, like, made duck hunting all of a sudden like a cool thing,
Oh yeah,
and it exploded that whole industry, and so there was like that heavy time frame, like for several years there, that like
people just wanted to do it because it was cool.
get on a pro staff, like look at me, like I'm listed at the very bottom of
So and so's call company.
GHG's
Or-
page, or like
Yeah.
I rep so and so's call. I don't know how to blow a call, but I'm on the pro staff, like that kind
Right.
of stuff. And so I think for me at that time, and around that time too, I think it was around that time that I was like jumping into the Mighty Marsh stuff, but
marsh meals, all that fun stuff.
which I was 100% like one of those guys for a little bit that like wanted to be on pro staffs, and I don't really know what I was expecting, and so I think if I had been involved in what I was involved in with them now, it'd be a different outcome, like,
Yeah.
for me than
Yeah, that's fair.
what it was at that time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I don't really know where the ill feelings came from, if there were really any ill feelings. Like I said, nothing towards Bobby or his calls.
Yeah.
I think I learned how to really duck call on his calls.
Oh yeah.
So,
And I've still got.
and he seems like a good dude. I haven't interacted with him since those days. I have no idea. And even at those times, I like had very little interaction with the man himself.
Right.
It was his other pro staffers.
Right.
So,
But I mean, he still runs a good crew. He's still,
makes
working at Rogers, getting to see him, more than,
yeah.
more than
Probably
the average guy.
Yeah.
He's still a good dude, makes awesome calls. I still have that whistle that you used to have on your lanyard.
Yeah,
When I was
yeah.
first getting started out, you're like, hey man, you can't call worth the shit. Here's a whistle.
Every group's got to have the guy. I don't know if you know this or not, but our hunting group has definitely evolved over the years, and which I got some sweet news. I'm gonna tell you here in a second.
Okay.
I just found out like the other week, and I'm gonna say I'm fucking ecstatic.
Nice.
Anyways, the times that you don't get a hunt, Lincoln's now the whistle guy.
He's the background guy now.
He's the all right. Hey, you just
Just relax.
you do the Drake whistle. Not to like tote my own horn.
Well,
toot my own horn.
I'll do it for you, man. Like, you were the one that taught me how to call. Like,
I feel like I'm fairly decent.
yeah, and in those situations, like, even if you're like, hey, we all need to be on a call, like, I'm gonna defer to you. Like, what cadence do I need to be running? What,
Yeah.
like,
Half
what
the time
kind of
I don't
noise-
know. I'm just
Dude, half the time, our go-to call is one of us will stand up and just yell, "Come here!"
come here. Yep. Oh yeah.
Does it
works
work?
every time?
60% of the time, every time.
60% of the time, it works 40% of the time.
Yeah, it's
But did you? Okay, there was that one year when you guys were still doing the calling competitions that I entered, the novice,
yeah.
and to this day, I need to go enter another one. But to this day, I still think I would have done better if I didn't absolutely wreck my opening hail call.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what they that's gonna hook them if you're
I hit him. I hit it with my purse. Like I didn't put enough into the call,
okay.
and it was flat. And I was like, oh, I didn't get that break over that just awesome.
Well, but I mean,
But the rest of it felt good.
you didn't place terribly. Well, I don't know.
No, I didn't make it to the second round.
Really?
Really? Yeah.
I swear. I mean, all right.
I think I would have made it the second round if I could have like opened up with a solid, crisp hail call.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Man, but you know what? I'm gonna say this. That calling style, like for competitions, is so different than what you need to be doing in the marsh. In my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. There's a huge difference.
I'm not. The few times that I go out on my own, I'm not hail calling if I see birds a quarter mile away.
No.
Or further away. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit right there and I'm gonna watch them. And if they start coming closer to me, I might reach out to them some.
Yeah.
But if they even look like they're heading the opposite direction, I'm just gonna sit there and be quiet.
Well, that's what's crazy about it. Like our calling, like habits have changed over the years too.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were younger, the first thing we would have done is like scream at them,
Right? Make noise.
Or at least have the thought of like, oh, we can attract them. And now as we're older, like we're gonna watch them fly off into the horizon,
right? Because I think we've learned. I learned picking it up from you guys that have been hunting with me now for a couple of years. Birds are gonna go where they want to go. If they're flying one way, and they are dead set that like if they're flying away from you going to the west,
yeah,
they're not gonna come back east.
No,
just because you're hail calling out.
No. One of the most fulfilling things though, when duck hunting, is getting a group to react or a pair of singles.
A pair of singles.
Oh yeah, trademarked. That's trademarked by the Mudroom LLC.
Oh boy, new drinking game. Every time a pair of singles gets brought up.
Yeah. And I can't take credit for it.
No.
I might be the one to put it on a t-shirt, but
yeah, I mean, there is something to be said about that feeling you get when you do get birds to turn. And
you work them down.
Oh yeah,
Unreal.
100%.
Like a very specific, unrelatable to anything else adrenaline rush.
The closest I can describe it to people that don't duck hunt but may hunt other stuff, the closest I can describe it is the moment where you've been in the turkey woods all morning. You're calling back and forth to that gobbler, and you don't hear back from him in 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you hear him again, and he's majorly closed the distance. Like he might have been 100 yards out, maybe walking towards you.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, you hear him. He's on top of you, like 20 yards away. Dude, if that doesn't get your heart hammering in your chest, go hang your gun up.
Only experienced that a couple times, but it's bone chilling.
Oh my god!
But I agree with you. That's probably the closest, right? You can relate.
That's the closest
thing.
They're
still two different. They're still two different things.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's why. Well, no, there's a lot. Like there has not been a single person that I've taken duck hunting for the first time, and them not been like, as soon as we get back to the trucks, when are we going again?
Oh yeah.
Not a single person.
I was the same way. In our first couple trips out, we didn't kill shit.
Yeah. I mean,
we did not have the spots those 2 times, though. But
the 2 craziest times was the first time, and this is going to roll into my exciting news.
Okay.
The first time I took Nate Lush, duck hunting up at Bilby.
Oh, yeah.
And we packed a mile and a half in with I don't know how many dozen decoys, and I wore my neoprene waders in.
Oh, man.
So I was dying. I was bleeding on my calves because I got big old calves that were rubbing on the boot. I was bleeding by the time we were done.
Yeah.
And Nate was exhausted, but he's a trooper, and he's a savage dude.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And same thing, I think we shot a wood duck at first light, and he was like, we got back, and he's like, when are we going again?
Right.
I was like, and then there's the Lincoln story. Went out to Wolf Creek, and we hiked probably equally as far in. We wore waders in because the river had let out and it was really flooded.
Right.
And it had gotten a lot more water over the week because we had been scouting it. It was for teal season. So it's like 75 degrees out or so.
75 degrees.
Brutal.
Wearing neoprenes.
Wearing neoprenes, and he can't swim. He can now, but he can't swim.
Well, thank God.
Yep. And where we ended up getting, oh wow, meatloaf's fighting back. That was a good dinner though.
That was.
But we're like chest deep, so he's stressed out about that. He gets bit by a mosquito. He's highly allergic to mosquitoes, so his whole like lower lip. Yeah, it's either his upper or lower lip just swelled up. Balloon.
What the hell?
And then we were literally crawling up the hill because you know how Wolf Creek is. It's got
the secondary dam there.
Yep. And so the 2-track or whatever, 2-track levee, and we get to the top of it, and he's just, we're all dead. Me and Chris are just dead. And one of the first things he says, "When are we going again?" I love this. I was like, it's just an unreal thing that people have experienced.
Dude, I won't lie though. I do think, like, I've been with you on enough good and bad hunts. Like, if you go through enough bad duck hunts and you still want to come back for more,
there's something about it.
I'm just saying you might be a little bit of a masochist. I just throwing that out there. Like,
might be true.
You might be into pain. I don't know.
That is true. We do put ourselves through a lot of BS.
Like the hikes in, the freaking
stress,
getting stuck in the mud. Like, that's the thing that stresses me out, is finding that soft mud on the bottom of...
Falling into the water where you can't touch the bottom in, 0-degree weather.
Oh, man, are you talking about that one?
30-degree weather.
You talking about that one where you shot the ringneck and I shot the gadwall, and that was like the only 2 birds we shot that day?
Where was that at?
That was Nottoway, the walk-in area.
And we fell in... No, was that at Bob's?
Bob Brown's? We've never hunted Bob's together.
We haven't?
No. We've hunted Wolf Creek and we've hunted Nottoway. Those are our spots.
No, where did we hunt a spot where it was so deep we couldn't touch?
Dude, we were in the walk-in area on the backside of Nottoway.
In the marsh area?
Yeah, in the marsh area, and there was one spot in the middle of that hole. Like, it was maybe a 4-foot round hole.
Yeah.
But that hole was every bit of, probably 6 feet?
Yeah.
Because I know that...
I remember what you're talking about.
I know your head didn't go under, but I know you went in past the tops of your waders, and you were cold, and you were pissed.
There was that time that... Yeah, I guess I've had more of those than I remembered. There was a time at Bob's, who I was with some buddies, and it was icy. It was all froze over. We had cut a hole, and then we found it. We just watched them all morning dump into a hole like 2 cornrows over. Like, what are we
what are we doing here?
After the flight, we finally were like, this was what was dumb about it. Then we decided to go over there.
Oh, yeah.
We should have just went over as soon as we noticed it. It was a big old hole, and did not realize how deep it was, and got to the edge of the ice and it started breaking. I was like, oh, I started stepping back, and it went out from under my feet, and I was like, I'm not touching. Like, kept going deeper and deeper and deeper, and I'm pretty sure we were in a boat path.
Oh,
that was
in the channel?
In the channel, but had corn on both sides, so it looked like it was just a really wide corn row.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then there was a time, I think you were on this one, where those dudes came down from Canada.
Yeah.
And we were up at
Cody and...
What do we call that? Road 400?
Yeah.
Remember how the levee broke out from the water, and it was creating that giant
yeah, it was
riptide or whatever.
A lot of current
going through, and I was dude, so tired, living off energy drinks and
dude, every single
nicotine.
One of us was.
That's I was chewing at the time, and
dude, I was too. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure I took a cigarette from one of the Canadian boys.
Probably, because I just knowing how deep it was. I was like, oh, let me check with my waiter, and on a downhill slope, and then stepped in and just
I remember it because
you were in the kayak.
Yep.
Pulling the decoys.
I was trying to pull the decoys.
Yeah.
There were so many of them. They were literally anchoring me down. I'd sit there and paddle and think that I'd made it 100 yards, and I look back, I was in the exact same
spot. I felt so
spot.
bad for those guys.
We built it up. We were excited. They were excited. And
everything that went wrong, went wrong.
Yeah, everything that could have just...
Because we had that hole in Wolf Creek that first day they got there.
Yeah.
The first day of hunting. That was just
And I wasn't even there for that one.
That was terrible. Wasn't bad getting out there, but it was just shitty.
Right.
The whole experience. I felt so bad for them, and I don't know. It is what it is. I feel bad for those guys.
But you know what? Hey, Cody, if you guys are listening to the show, we do appreciate you guys coming down.
Yeah.
And hope it was a halfway fun time, because
hopefully there's good conversation, good memories had, but it was terrible hunting.
It was so bad.
But But here's what I'm going to spin into my good news.
Okay.
Nate's going to be back in the mix this year.
Oh yeah.
He's been out for a while. Yeah, he actually. I didn't, dude. This is partially my fault, just being a over busy friend. I didn't realize he had moved to Arizona for a job. He took a job.
What?
He had taken a job with like Tesla's #1 competitor. I mean, the dude kills it. He absolutely kills it.
Oh yeah.
And so, but they've decided to move back.
Cool.
So he's actually moving like 5 minutes from my place, which is sweet. But and you know, like that's where a lot of like the love for duck hunting started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really got heavy into it in college.
Yeah.
And got him into
That
it.
is awesome. No, I honestly, man, I hadn't heard from Nate in long enough that I didn't even know he'd moved.
You hunted with him a couple times though, hadn't you?
Uh-uh.
You never hunted with Nate?
I mean, with
Nate
yeah,
Lush?
yeah, with you guys,
Yeah.
like with all of us together. Yeah, like
Yeah.
me and him never hunted, just the two of
Well,
us.
yeah. I was meaning like in the group.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying earlier, our group has transitioned quite a bit over the years.
Oh yeah.
People come and go.
Right.
Yeah. It's wild, dude.
Dude, the last time I duck hunted though was, I'm pretty sure it was a Thanksgiving hunt, 2020 or 2000,
That can't be right.
maybe 21. But I remember it's been a couple of years, dude.
We did our traditional go to Nottoway.
Yep, did the walk in. It was you,
Was
me.
that it?
It was you, me, Chris, and Lincoln. And I remember we were out there, and there was this dude.
That's such a funny.
Are you thinking of what I am too?
No, I'm thinking of the conversations we have when the four of us are together.
Oh man, it was a blast.
Yeah.
But no, and then
Definitely for like an RX rated
oh yeah,
podcast.
that'll be the
We can tell those stories on the spin-off of this one.
that'll be the bonus content.
Yeah.
Like
Subscribe.
don't let your kids listen to that one.
$1.99 a month for the juicy stuff.
Oh man, $2. Come on, we're worth at least $2.50.
It's about they're probably worth like $1.50. I'm over asking.
Yeah, it was us, and then was it Jake Nelson maybe, or
I know what you're talking about. I know the story you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty sure
So are
Jake.
you thinking of what was going on that day though?
Where he just walked off? Is
Yeah.
this the same hunt?
Yeah, this is the same hunt where Jake just walks off
We're
because
in the middle of a flooded marsh and he's like,
he hears a pheasant, and I heard it too.
I'm going to go pheasant hunting.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go kick that pheasant up in flooded marsh." Like, no, you're not. He's not gonna land in the marsh.
He was just gone.
Yeah, he was gone for hours.
Like
and
nobody
then-
noticed that he was like, he had walked away and then we were like, where the hell's Jake? And we look
Uh-huh.
over and he's like 50, 60 yards away. We're like, what are you doing? He's like, I heard a pheasant.
I'm looking for the pheasant, guys.
The funny thing about that is I actually had messaged him today asking if he wanted to come on.
Oh, no
because
joke.
He is probably one of the, if not the most passionate outdoorsman in the friend group that I know right now. I mean, we all have our passions to an extent, but overall, like he full on manages his own family property. Him and his grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
He's constantly scouting. He's constantly posting videos about, like they went out and scouted for doves. I haven't even considered dove hunting in I don't know how many years. It's fun, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
I haven't done that since at least 2020.
Yeah, and he also is I think I may be wrong, but the last I knew he's a real estate agent for Land Pros.
Oh, so
He's out there selling hunting land as well.
okay.
And when I was doing the marshmallow stuff, he was wanting to get on a video because he has so much wild game.
Right.
He's just he's a really good dude. I'm very happy to have gotten to know him. I think he's a squared away guy.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
So
hopefully he comes on
the
show and
absolutely.
talks about his life.
I'll listen to that one before I listen to this one.
Yeah. Good call. Same here.
But no,
I didn't want to post this. Just kidding.
no. The other thing that I remember happening that day, some dude had lost his dog.
Oh, yes.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
There you go. It's flooding back.
There
now,
it is,
isn't
dude. I forgot that was
all
that
morning long, like from
Oh.
it had to have been like from half an hour before the sun was up. Like it's literally at shooting light.
What was his dog's name?
Harley.
It was not Harley.
It was Harley.
No.
Dude, I remember reading it on the sign, just all up and down the marsh. Harley! Harley! And then he disappeared for a couple hours, and I think he was going home and printing off the posters he was putting at the parking lots. Because I remember there was a poster.
Was it Harley or Haley? Yeah. Not, dude.
No, now you
Camo,
got-
that stinks, buddy. And you got it aimed right at me.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's That's what dogs do, man. But yeah, no, I just remember all morning. It was either Haley or Harley. Like,
Either one, yeah.
but just, oh,
And he was in the back of the marsh too.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it? Dude, that's toxic waste.
We're,
And I feed him good dog food. And I feed him a probiotic.
I'm giving him fucking Beano next time we come over.
Don't do that. I don't need him shitting all over my carpet.
No,
What's Beano?
gas. Like,
Oh, it's for gas?
Yeah, it's for like if you got bad gas.
I thought it was like a fiber supplement or something.
Why would I give your dog that has that rotten of an ass a fiber supplement?
He's a good boy though. I remember that though. That dude either hiked or he took a boat in.
Yeah, but
because he was in the back.
He was way in the back, and he was covering ground too. Because you'd hear him in the very back of the marsh, up next to the refuge, and then next thing, like not even 10 minutes later, he's back by the truck. Like,
dude was moving.
He was, man. Like, if he didn't have
sure.
a boat, he had one of those e-bikes that you're not even supposed to take on conservation land.
God, yes. I forgot about that. I'm pretty sure he probably coasted a bird into the refuge, and Haley or Harley, whatever her name was,
Went in to get it, and
yeah.
he's like,
Or was it Holly?
The Holly.
It was Holly.
Yep.
It was
There
Holly.
it is.
Because I remember us kind of being assholes. We're like yelling it back at him.
The four of us?
Maybe me.
The four of us being assholes?
Yeah.
That's so hard
Holly.
to picture.
Holly. He's a good dude, though. I felt bad for him.
Oh, man.
We would all do the same for our dogs.
Oh, 100%. Like,
I forgot about that. We got to start writing these down. I started doing this with my job. It's like I try to like make a mental note and then write down like any wild or crazy experience that I have, just so I can like revisit them down the road. Because I do have a lot of conversations where like, hey, what crazy shit did you get into this week? You know, like those conversations. And
oh man, if you want to hear that stuff,
it's always after. Yeah, that'll be $5.99.
Right.
It's always after the fact, after you tell a story.
Right.
You're like, oh wait, no shit, this happened.
For me, it's always like after I've said goodbye and I'm 10 minutes down there, and I'm like, oh man, they probably would have loved to hear about. Well, I don't know if everybody wants to hear about last week. Last week was a lot of fun. I'm running on just about as much sleep as we were back in the day right now.
Are you talking about like genuinely or like
genuinely? Like this is a real thing that happened.
Okay,
just talking about some of the crazy
what
shit.
What time do you got right now? I don't have my watch on.
We are 9:16.
9:16. All right, tell me a story, and we'll probably do an episode 2 of this.
Do a part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll cliff notes it a little bit here. So last week, man, I'm running on the same kind of sleep we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Like I'm driven at this point by strictly caffeine because I have quit chewing.
Have you really?
Yeah, I haven't chewed in like a year.
I'm a shitty friend.
Why?
Because I didn't know that. Actually, I don't feel like that's something I should like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care that you didn't know that.
Hold myself to a higher standard of knowing. Anyways, but I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that may or may not.
Was it hard for you?
Dude, incredibly.
Was it?
Like.
So I never like chewed like heavily consistently. Like
dude.
It was enough though to where I was definitely craving it. But I have this awkward ability. Not awkward. It's actually quite great where I can just like cold turkey quit shit.
I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I don't have that switch inside my brain. I really wish I did.
I don't know what it is. Anyways, keep going. So you've quit chewing.
So yep. So anyways, so I'm running on like strictly caffeine. Mm-hmm. Probably not eating enough, but it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
So it's an early morning, and this dude had brought a bow in the week prior that needed some new cams. For anybody listening that's an archer, it's an Elite Impulse 34, and he brings in this bow, and the entirety of the bow is just immaculate. Like. The riser itself is beautiful. It's done in Realtree AP snow. It's like that beautiful white, brown, black camo. Like this bow is just gorgeous. And these snow white cams have 45-degree bends in them from where he's dry fired the bow. He's like, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I dry fired the bow, and I know that you guys may not be able to find cams for this thing. So a couple weeks go by, and we're able to give him a call. We're like, hey. Cams came in for your bow. He's like, awesome, dude. So we go putting this bow back together, and it's one of our early mornings. I think we were in it. I think we were 7:30 that morning. And this was one of the first bows in the stack to get done. So I did not swap the cams or any of that out. That was done by the shop manager. So on the older Elites like that, and it's not that old, but prior to some of their newest incarnations of bow, to prevent the bow from overdrawing itself,
Mm-hmm.
they've got the limb stops.
Yeah.
They give it that super solid back wall.
That's what I have on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So just like yours, but it doesn't have cable stops.
Mm.
So when you're swapping these cams out and swapping mods to it,
Mm-hmm.
part of it is you have to take those limb stops out.
Okay.
So I picked the bow up because, like I said, it's first on the stack for me to work on.
Mm.
So I picked this bow up off the shelf, put an arrow in it because I don't know how long the draw length is set for.
Mm-hmm.
I just grabbed like the 34-inch, the monster arrow that we keep back there. Put it in the bow. I go to draw it back, and one of my coworkers is standing there. I go to draw the bow back, and I feel it lock itself out. Like, I know for a fact that this bow is not going to go back down. First word out of my mouth, and this sounds terrible if you've never worked in a bow shop, though. This is what it is. First word out of my mouth was bomb, because that thing was 100% locked out. The cams had over-rotated because the draw stops did not get reinstalled.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so there was nothing.
So, like this thing, like if you let go of the string, it's exploding.
No, that's the problem.
Oh.
I let go of the string, and it did not go back around because it was drawn past the point where it could. So you've got this bow that is past what full draw should be for it.
Yeah.
All this energy is stored up. The limbs are still flexed, but the strings are spaghetti noodles, and the cams don't have any. There's no energy pulling them back around because they've drawn past where any of that energy would pull them back in if you were to let the bow down.
Okay.
So
Yikes.
this is the first time I've ever done this, or not the first time I've ever done it, but the first time I've done it in a long time since I got started doing all this archery work. And it's been long enough that my brain goes into, oh shit mode.
Yeah.
So I turn to one of my other coworkers. I'm like, hey, we gotta get this thing. Like, I'm spazzing out, panicked. And
Yeah.
he just looks at me and goes, dude, relax. You've worked on bows long enough. You were kind of overdue for one since you haven't had one in a while. This is an easy fix. So he goes over and he, whistling away, listening to his music and whatever.
Yeah.
Calm as a cucumber. I'm standing here sweat's pouring off of me while I'm holding this bow, just waiting on it to explode.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, bring the bow over. We put the bow in the press. He's like, all right, since you're taller, I need you to hold that string up. And then as I tell you to, start bringing it down nice and slow.
Yeah.
And so he starts letting the bow out after he's rotated the cams half an inch.
Yeah.
Half an inch of rotation on each of those cams. And I can already feel them wanting to pull back on that string.
Oh, really?
It was that close to going.
That's wild.
And then just as I was letting down on the string, he's letting the bow out, walks it out, and
Was
it
all
was
good?
back together. But oh yeah, it was perfectly fine, man. As soon as we put those draw stops in it, I shot it. It shot a bullet hole through paper,
Nice.
and the dude came and picked it up. Everything shot well for him.
Nice.
But
So it was a win at the end of the day. Just there's that minor little hiccup that he didn't know about.
oh, dude, I would not say it was not minor to me, but yeah, if
Well, yeah.
any of my coworkers are listening, they're like, oh man, he's playing this up right now. It really wasn't that big a deal.
Well, dude, that just goes to show how little knowledge I have on how the actual functioning of a compound bow works. Because as soon as you said, overdraw, I don't. In my mind, as soon as you let go of the string, it should release those.
You would think.
Yeah, you should release those limbs.
I mean,
But
if you want me to
that's
take
wild.
the mods
I
off your
don't.
bow right
We
now,
don't have to do
I'll
that.
show you.
No, we don't. I really like that bow.
Okay, that's
I know
fine.
every time I walk in the shop, I always talk shit on buying a new one, but
Oh, I mean, whatever.
it's just, the newer, shinier thing.
Oh yeah, we're
That's
all guilty
wild.
of it.
That's something I really want to get into. Unfortunately, well, no, not unfortunately. I think we just are. We can
We're
just talk
getting to-
forever. We're just
right.
gonna have to do an episode 2 of this, man.
Dude, that's fine.
We covered a lot of good stuff. Covered your childhood, and we went on some good tangents. Covered your teenage years, and
Oh yeah.
I think people probably get a genuine feel of how our conversations are in real life. So I appreciate you, buddy. I
There's
appreciate
just
you
one thing, I do want to, probably next time. I'd like to hear a little bit more about you.
about me.
Yeah, this
Nah,
is
it's
this is
all
your
about
show, man. This is your idea.
Well,
This is your brainchild. I'm sure people eventually are gonna be like, all right, well, who's this jackwagon that keeps having all these people that we know everything about on his show, and like we have no idea who this dude is.
Well, maybe at some point we'll venture down that road.
Yeah, well,
There's not a lot that people need to know about me. Actually,
there's probably not a lot of people who are allowed to know about you.
I actually have a pretty fucking sweet life. So yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I've had a pretty wild one. I could probably write a book one day, maybe. I don't know. My craziness, like crazy adventures or like happenings have kind of slowed down. But
yeah, that means,
maybe one day we'll do it.
That means you got time to write a book.
Yeah.
But you got to subscribe. That's $10.99 a month per chapter.
$10.99. We're slowly just gonna keep going. At some point, y'all are gonna be second mortgaging your home just to listen to us. So.
Which, hey, I mean, if you do that, more power to you. But
Righteous.
You don't have to.
All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate you coming out here, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hang up the headphones and get on to work.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, don't let me keep
to be
you from
continued.
Oh, for sure. Don't let me keep you on your job.
All right, my man.
I'm going to shake your hand just so the camera sees it.
Yeah, because we're friends.
We are. We're friends that way. So,
all right, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun. Let's do it again.
Talk to you soon.
Absolutely.